Hey guys, Saki here from SAKITECH, and in today's video we're going to be doing a questions and answers session. So basically yesterday or the day before I asked you guys to ask me any question that you want answered on this channel in relation to the iPhones, Samsung smartphones, tablets, any other technology. So a lot of you guys did submit a bunch of questions. So I'm going to pick maybe 10 questions today and give you a bunch of answers. So the first question comes from, let's see, Angus. And Angus is asking a question about the iPhone. His question is kind of amusing, and a lot of people give it a thumbs up. So we're going to look at that question. The question is, why do iPhones suck? So the answer to that question is, iPhones do not suck inherently. The thing with the iPhones is the way Apple designs their product is they design it so it can fit into an ecosystem. So if you came to me right now and you asked me, shall I buy the iPhone or the S9 Plus? I will ask you a very simple question. I'll ask you, in your house, do you have a MacBook? Do you have an Apple TV? Do you have an iPad? Do you have any Apple product? And based on your answer, I might tell you to buy the iPhone X over the S9 Plus for ecosystem benefits, because the Apple ecosystem is pretty fantastic. If you have a MacBook, iPad, iPhone, AirPods, HomePod, all these products at all times are talking to each other. They're aware of their own existence, and they just work together very well to give you a nice, smooth, consistent experience. But if you come to me and you tell me, no, I'm not particularly invested in Apple products, I do have a laptop, it might be Apple, but I don't really care about the fact that it's Apple. It's just a laptop for me. Or you may have one iPad, Windows machines, you're just cluttered. And if you come to me like that and you say, which one is better, the iPhone or the S9 Plus, I'm going to tell you the S9 Plus is better. Because when you put them side by side and you dissect them very carefully, this product here has more technology built into it than the iPhone X, okay? It either meets or exceeds the iPhone at every category. So if you're an Apple person, if you have a lot of Apple products and you like and you enjoy them, you should get the iPhone X. It's going to work great with your ecosystem. But if you're just in the market to buy a good smartphone, regardless of ecosystems, then I would say get the S9 or the S9 Plus, because this phone, in my opinion, is superior to the iPhone X when just considered as a standalone smartphone. Okay, so that's the answer to that question. So do the iPhones suck? No, they don't, but they are only should be purchased in specific scenarios, and of course, if you've got $1,000 to buy the iPhone X specifically. And the next question comes from Maxi. His question is about the Samsung smartphones. He's asking, do you think the difference between the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus and the S9 Plus is big enough? The simple answer to that question is no. I have a full comparison video you can go and watch. But basically the S9 Plus only has a couple things above the S8 Plus. The stereo speakers, the S9 Plus has dual cameras in the background. It's got a repositioned fingerprint sensor, which I happen to like. And it also has an upgraded processor and 6 gigabytes of RAM. So it's got a bunch of things over the S8 Plus. But is it worth upgrading from the S8 Plus to the S9 Plus? I don't think so. But if you're in the market to make a choice between the two, I would recommend get the S9 Plus because it has the latest technology. But if you're trying to save money, then get the S8 Plus because it's very, very much cheaper than the S9 Plus. You'll probably save $200 to $300 if you decide to go with the S8 Plus over the S9 Plus. But again, if you already have the S8 Plus, you do not have to upgrade to the S9 Plus. You'll get a much bigger upgrade with the S10 Plus or even the Note 9 Plus. The Note 9, which is coming out very soon, probably around September or even before that. Now, one more question here comes from Jack. Jack wants to know, do you think Samsung should ditch Android in favor for their own operating system? Absolutely not. Whatever they're doing right now, whatever Samsung is doing right now with Android is fine. So they have Android, they have a Samsung experience overlay on top of Android that adds a lot of deep and rich features to the Samsung smartphones, and I think that's the way it should remain because Android is a pretty complex and widespread system that you should not get rid of. If you do, you will lose customers big time. So I don't think they should ditch Android in favor of for their own operating system at no point in time. Now this other person is asking, his name is Marwan Ali, and he's saying, is the S Pen, his question is about the Samsung Galaxy Note products. So should you buy the Samsung Galaxy Note just because of the S Pen? Is it worth it to get it over the S? And what do you think Samsung will do on their 10th anniversary S phone? So the first part of the question, is it worth it to buy the Note over the S series of smartphones? 100%. And the reason is because the Note smartphones have everything that the S smartphones have that were released prior to it, plus the S Pen. Okay, so you have the S9 and the S9 Plus. These are fantastic smartphones. But then you're going to have the Note 9 coming out very soon. It's going to have everything that the S9 and the S9 Plus has, plus the S Pen. So you're getting much more than just a regular S product, because the S Pen does have a lot of fantastic functionality, and you can find that out if you watch my S Pen detailed tutorial videos to see what they're capable of. Second part of his question, what do you think Samsung will do with their 10th anniversary S phone? So what's the S10 going to have, or the S10 Plus? Now, largely it's going to be a similar product, but there's a high chance, and this is the only thing that's probably going to matter, there's a high chance it's going to have a built-in fingerprint sensor in the display, which is coming, which is something that they've been trying to do for a while, but based on my research, it seems they failed to perfect the technology. But with the S10, they may be able to bring that to the table. Some people claim the Note might bring that to the table. I don't believe it will, but the S10 Plus, I think, definitely is going to have the built-in fingerprint sensor in the display on the front, so you're not going to have any fingerprints anywhere else. Okay, so that's one of the big things that everybody's expecting, and that's the only thing that I think they're going to do right now that's just going to stand out with the 10th anniversary S phone. Now the next question comes from Suleiman Ahmed, and he wants to know, why do you think Apple is not catching up with the likes of Google Assistant and Alexa? Now, I'm not going to say Alexa is superior to Siri, but Google Assistant does have superiority to Siri in some instances. So as an everyday assistant, as far as scheduling appointments, setting up timers, setting up alarms, setting up reminders, I think Siri and Assistant are almost the same, Google Assistant. But when it comes to database queries, such as asking information, hey Google, what year were the pyramids built? Or hey Google, get me directions from this place to this place. When it comes to those kind of queries, database-driven queries, Google Assistant is in fact better. And the reason it's better is because it just has a better database. So Google Assistant is tied, let's take one example, the Maps. Google Assistant is tied to the Maps application, Google Maps. Google Maps is one of the most advanced and accurate mapping software in the world. There's no question about that. Apple Maps does not even compare. So when you ask Siri directions and when you ask Google Assistant directions, the information that Google Assistant fetches from the Google Maps database is better than the information Siri is going to fetch from Apple Maps database. So that's where the Google Assistant wins. But again, for everyday simple assistant duties, both Siri and Assistant are fantastic, and they're both better than Alexa. But when it comes to database-driven or knowledge-based queries, Assistant is in fact superior to all the other assistants. So let's move on to the next question. So the next question is, why doesn't Samsung allow us to repurpose the Bixby button? That's a hard question to answer, but from a common sense perspective, it kind of makes sense. They built that button specifically for Bixby. It's the Bixby button. So they want you to use it for Bixby. Now you can disable the button or you can enable the button. You have the option to disable Bixby if you don't want it at all, but you are not able to repurpose it because, look, from my perspective, I think they built the button specifically for Bixby. If you do learn how to use Bixby properly, it's actually a fantastic little tool. What I always say is Bixby combined with Google Assistant is a complete voice assistant package. Bixby allows you to control your phone via voice, and I have a lot of videos on that. You can search my channel. And Google Assistant can be used for database driven queries such as getting directions and information from the web. But if you want to control your smartphone, you can use the Bixby button. So I can say things like this: turn on the flashlight.
Okay, I turned it on.
Now, as you can see, it just turned on the flashlight. I can also say, turn off the flashlight.
Okay, the flashlight's off.
Okay, so those are the things Bixby can do. It can do much more than that. You can control every aspect of your smartphone using your voice, which neither Siri nor Google Assistant can do. So that's why they have it here. That's what they want you to use it for. I say combine the use of Bixby with the use of Google Assistant. Okay, so that's the Bixby. Let's move on to the final question. Let's pick one more over here that seems interesting. So this question comes from Raj. He's asking, will S9 Plus lag after 3 to 4 years or later? The answer is most likely it's a potential possibility. And I'll just give you the history of my experience with the S6 and the S6 Edge and S7 and the S7 Edge. It's been almost a couple years now. You can go back and take a look at them, and they do lag a little bit. Okay, so they were fresh, smooth, and fast in the beginning, but over the years they started to lag. The funny thing is with the S8 and the S8 Plus, I haven't really noticed much of a lag. Now, some people just stuff their smartphones with apps and worthless apps, and they just tweak settings left and right, and they just make the phone lag almost, out of ignorance. But with the S8 and the S8 Plus, for a normal user, I haven't noticed a lag at all. And I just use my phones for browsing the web, using some apps, watching YouTube videos, making calls, text messaging, and stuff like that, and it really has never lagged on me, the S8 or the S8 Plus. And I think the operating system is maturing, it's getting more stable over time. So S9 Plus, after 3 to 4 years, who knows? It might lag, it may not lag. I think it's going to hold up pretty well because I think it's matured very well. The S9 Plus I have right now shows me zero indication of lags. But you look back to S6, you look back to the S7, and these phones did lag, for me at least, after a couple years of use. But I think the lag problem is a disappearing problem. So with the release of every new Samsung smartphone, the lag is just going to disappear completely. S9 Plus over here with 6 gigabytes of RAM barely lags for me. Okay, I mean, not even barely. It hasn't shown any indication of lagging, at least for me. If you have a different experience, you can let me down in the comments below. If you're considering, the person that asked the question, if you're trying to buy this product, you can buy it. I would say go ahead and buy it. I don't think it's going to lag, but I cannot tell you for sure, unfortunately, what's going to happen 3 to 4 years from today. Okay, so that was the final question I wanted to take a look at. Every other question is almost similar here. But I'll be making videos like these more often, probably every week from now on, or maybe once a month. And every time I am about to make a video like this, I'm going to post it onto the community section in YouTube. And I'm going to ask you guys to submit your questions. And just like you have done, you can submit them. And after that, I'll just go over them randomly, just pick any question that I think is interesting, and I'm going to give you some answers. So let me know what you guys think about my answers. If you have your own input, you can just drop it down below based on any question that you want. And of course, make sure to subscribe to SAKITECH if you're not subscribed already. Give this video a thumbs up and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at SAKITECH Online. Guys, have a fantastic day.